Hi, this is Jacqueline here with the Grow Program. This is the new, I guess you can call it studio, where I'm going to be recording at. It's not Paramount Studios or anything like that, but it's good. I don't have any fancy editing. I may get into that, I may not, because it's not about that. It's about a message that I'm trying to get out to people. So, I'm going to tell you about grow. Grow means greatness reached over oppression through wisdom. We have a lot of different things that are probably looking different. Okay. We have a lot of different things that are oppressing us, now. And so what we're trying to do is get to the root of the problem and fix it. And the problem is here in our mind, because we're not held down here anymore. We held down up here in our mind. So what I want to talk to you about today is kind of difficult. It's really difficult for me to talk about, but I have to talk about it because the radio program, it was a place where I could hide. Nobody see me. Nobody really could knew me, and I couldn't tell my story. I wasn't telling my story. I was just telling I was telling the gospel of Jesus, but I'm supposed to, it's more to it than that, people. It's more to it than just going to church on Sunday and trying to get it together the rest of the week, It's all about living a life in glory and honor to your ancestors. My husband just talking about yesterday how he, I'm getting used to this system, so bear with me, but he was talking about how he don't have any problems and how things are good and they are, but it's a sad time in the world for others, and I don't take light to that. I don't take light to that at all. I know that there are people that are hurting and going through, and I want to try to help as much as I can. I hope that maybe my words may come across as helping somebody, maybe something that I say, or because I'm trying to help people out of oppression, in the way they think about themselves, because that's a lot of what's going on in the African American communities nowadays, that have problems that have not been addressed, or problems that fall on deaf ears, like police reform. We need true police reform in the African American communities. We need to address the issues of police brutality. I mean, there's just so much injustice when it comes to African Americans, and that's one topic that I'm getting ready to get on right now. I want to talk about this federal system, because I was in it. And see, I can hide behind mine. I could have, but I chose not to. I have to tell this story. I went through things. There's a reason I went through a lot of things I went through in my life. I understand now. It's because I'm a legend, and because I have to tell my story to help somebody else. I done came close to death about 3 times. I done just been through so much in my life, and this right here, this federal system, this almost cost me my life also. It's difficult to talk about, but I have to talk about it because I want to keep people from going in there. I want people to change their mindset and the way they think. You're going out here, you shooting up folks, you ganging and thugging, you're doing wrong. And I'm gonna tell you something, it's gonna catch up with you. One day or soon, it's gonna catch up with you. Sooner or later is what I'm trying to say. It's going to catch up with you. So you can keep on ducking and dodging, hiding, and dotting I's and missing, crossing T's. I'm tell you something, you got your baby daddy in the house with you, and you're doing child care and all this other stuff. That's going to get you into the federal system. I talked about that before, but I feel I really need to talk about this and reiterate, because I'm trying to keep my people out of it, So, okay, how I wind up going in, is they said I did something. I said I didn't do it. But if I didn't agree to them what they said I did, then I'd be gone for a long time. I wouldn't even be standing here talking to you now. I'm gonna tell you something. If the federal system was around when Dr. King was here, he'd still be in there. And that's how how rough, how bad this federal system is. It tax on anything you ever did in life. It adds that. They could be 20 years from now. You can say, oh, they don't count back 7 years. Yes, they do. The federal government knows everything about you because there's a 9-digit number that follows you everywhere you go in life. Okay, I won't get all in that. But this is, I was at a camp and you turn yourself into the camp. I was there about 7 months. I went to a place like what Lauryn Hill and Martha Stewart. It's just a camp. You could leave if you want to, but if you leave, they gonna tack on 18 months on your sentence, and then you go into a FCI. So nobody left. Then nobody walk off. I heard stories of people sneaking down to the store and getting cigarettes and stuff, but we had to wear uniforms, so I don't know how they got away with doing that. Anyway, I don't want to get all into the detail of what happened and how, but I want to let you know that I did almost lose my life in there because I was sitting there and bleeding to death, and it was midnight, around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sitting there just bleeding, and they're contacting the guards and everything, and the guards, they weren't really doing nothing at the time. I don't know, they switching up or whatever they were doing. But oh yeah, I'm supposed to be looking at the camera. If it weren't for the inmates, I wouldn't be here now. They saved my life, and to them I owe a debt of gratitude because they insisted that the guards come and get me. And by the time they came and got me to the hospital, I had lost so much blood. I had to have 2 blood transfusions. When I was sitting there bleeding, my children, my loved ones' faces were passing in front of my face. I knew I was dying. And come to find out, I was pregnant and losing it, and I lost it. But when and I went through the motions of filing the lawsuit and everything while I was in there and all that. But that fight just wasn't in me. It was in me when I was in there because I guess it was just a drive and something to do. But also, I was absorbing myself in the ministry and in learning about God, because God had put me in a quiet place, So during this time when I'm going through all of this, I'm also, learning so much about ministry, but I didn't know about the African American side of it till here recently. And so, I made it through that, through the grace of God and the ancestors. I made it through that. And but when I got out, it just wasn't in me to keep the fight on, so I let it go. I don't want to fight. I don't want to sue the government for that. But what I want to do is raise awareness of how so many people do die in there. And I was almost one of them. It's a system that once you in, you locked in, you in there. And I met some wonderful people, but at the same time, I was oppressed. I was being oppressed and oppressing myself before that and even after that, because I still hadn't quite got it together. I was getting it together. I was on the road, but now, yeah, I got it now. I got it together now. And I'm trying to help you because that federal system is something you really don't want to get involved in. Because I'm going to tell you something. When you get that indictment letter that says the United States of America versus you, that's an awakening right there. That lets you know you done really messed up. So I want to avoid, that's why I'm telling my story. I want to avoid you going in that type of system. Because if you out there ganging and thugging, AK-47s, these rifles, dealing crack, dealing drugs, dealing heroin, that's federal time. You going away for a while. You're going to be gone. And so I'm trying to prevent you from doing that. Even if, say for instance, you do drugs, you don't sell them, you just use them. You're gonna get caught up in the conspiracy. I'm gonna tell you something, and you don't want to get caught up in the conspiracy, because conspiracy is yours. Conspiracy don't even mean that you did anything. You just in it because you use drugs. So you bought them somewhere or another. So you just caught up in it. And if you don't believe conspiracy is real and the government is real, you will get charged for conspiracy. I just thank the Lord that the federal system wasn't around when Dr. King was around doing his civil rights movement, because he had to oppose the government's way of how they were doing people. So I'm opposing now what we are doing to ourselves. See, because it really ain't the government anymore. I just read the story. Y'all hear stories every day about young African men and young African women who excel and go on and be somebody and do something with themselves and come back, back into their community. That's grow. That's what grow is. That's all growing is. That's life. You grow up, you come out of the world, you get it together, you start taking care of yourself, take care of your children, take care of your family, especially yourself, because it all starts with you. If you don't take care of yourself and love you, nothing's gonna work. I'm tell you something I said this morning, and it just came out the blue. It felt so good when I said it, and you should do it too. I looked in the mirror and I said, I love you. I used to didn't, but I do now. And I want you to do the same thing. When you get done watching this video, when you get done liking and sharing this and subscribing, go in there in the bathroom and look at yourself and say, I love you. If you used to didn't, say I used to didn't, but I do now. And watch and start treating yourself different. Stop oppressing yourself and watch how your life is going to change. Watch how things manifest in your life. Because when you speak, the tongue speaks life and death. And when you speak things over your life, and over your children, that's what manifests in your life and over your children. Because your children begin to believe that. They begin to believe what you tell them. They ain't no good. They ain't this. They ain't that. Well, I'm gonna tell you something else. Anytime that you saying things, it just begins to sink in. And I want to say something else about problems. We all have problems, but most of our problems are what we bring on ourselves. When we start correcting ourselves, we'll start eliminating most of them problems. And sometimes we are the problem, because it took a while for me to fix me. It took a while, but I'm together now. I got it, and I want to help you get it. And you shouldn't have to go and pay no $10, $20, $100 a month to somebody to get them rich for them to help you get it. It don't work like that. The church got it wrong. I'm sorry, Pastor, but I think with all that tithe money you got, you can start putting back in the community. Start buying some houses for some of your congregation and really helping out in the community, Pastor. You really could turn that church into a house and let somebody live in it. Get and help somebody out, Pastor, because really that's what we here for. We supposed to help one another out. It's not just about helping out one person. It's about helping everybody out, helping one another out, reaching out your hand. I heard somebody say the other day, instead of reaching out with a closed fist, reach out with open arms. Try to help somebody, try to lift somebody up, try to make a difference in somebody's life. Make a difference in your own life. Try to make things better for you and your children. So, I want to get that message out to you real quick. I don't have, like I told you, I don't have no fancy editing or anything like that. It is what it is. But I also want to tell you about this verse in Luke. Verse in Luke chapter 8. Chapter 8, verse 17. And it talks about, things being for nothing can be hidden. Everything got to come out. The truth got to come out. It's got to come out. And that's how you begin to live a life in glory once your truth come out, and you forgive yourself and begin to forgive. So, that'll be my first video today. So remember, people, let's grow. Let's grow.